As you can see, the leaves are falling from the trees, the temperature's dropping, and those long summer days are but a distant memory. But if you've got a good set of quality riding gear like this, the roads are dry and the sun is shining, there's no excuse for not getting out for a ride. Which is just as well, because Suzuki have given us their new M90 Boulevard Cruiser. If you're a cruiser fan, you'll no doubt have heard of Suzuki's M109 Boulevard, which is their flagship model. One look at this bike and it's easy to see the family resemblance, because it's styled almost the same. It's hard not to draw comparisons with the 109 when you're looking at the 90, so let's look at the differences. The wheelbase is 1690mm, which is 20mm shorter. The seat height, 716mm, 9mm shorter. The bars here are 20mm closer to the seat, which in turn is 28mm closer to the pegs. So the riding position's a lot more compact than the 109, but because it's a power cruiser, still a bit of a stretch to the bar, so shorter riders might want to look at that before they buy. The first thing you'll notice when you thumb the starter on the M90 is how quiet it is. For a V-twin cruiser, it's really quiet. That may appeal to some, but most cruiser owners I know like their V-twin rumble loud, and these cans will probably get replaced. Now the M90 here, it runs a 1462cc, liquid-cooled, single overhead cam V-twin. It's also almost 20 kgs lighter than the 109, so it's much more manoeuvrable at lower speeds. Helping out there, and at higher speeds, is the rear tyre. It's a 200mm wide rear section compared to the 240 on the 109, and that makes the handling so much easier for less experienced riders. That said, one area where it is let down is the ground clearance. You can turn it in, but it won't be long before the hero bobs on the foot pegs are scraping on the tarmac. That's fine on good hot mix, but on some of our rougher chip seal roads, you could get in a bit of trouble. Personally, I put some new forward controls on there and get the bike set up for me. Now this is a 1500 V-twin, so it's got a reasonable amount of power. But to be honest, after riding it, the characteristics are more like a sports twin than a cruiser twin. Sure, it's got a lot of torque off the bottom, but this engine seems to come alive the more revs you give it. In fact, it just seems to love revs. It's one of those engines, the more you give it, the more it's going to give you in return. And that's quite uncharacteristic for a cruiser. One area where the M90 isn't quite as good as Big Brother is on the braking front. The 109 has 6-pot radial mount calipers that are simply stunning and possibly the best you can get on a cruiser. What we've got on the 90 is a pair of 290mm discs with 2 piston calipers up front and a 275 with a 2-pot on the back. The front discs, they're not too bad. Give them a real handful and you'll pull them up. The back disc, not so good. In fact, I thought it was pretty useless. But saying that, it's more than ample for this bike's performance. Now being a bike that weighs just under 330 kgs, you'd think this 18-litre fuel tank wouldn't last long. But on our test, we've managed to get 231 kilometres out of it before the fuel light came on. It doesn't sound like an awful lot, but considering the way we've been riding this bike, it's pretty good. Now the M90 may not have the same bragging rights as the 109, doesn't have that big fat tyre, doesn't have the 1800. But what it does have is a great little 1500 V-twin, better handling than Bigger Brother, and a $4,000 cheaper price tag. $16,995, and that's pretty much on the money in this market.